Good morning, Hampshire exhibitors, and welcome here to our show today. We want to welcome you on our centennial anniversary here of the Eastern States Exposition. Working our show today is Mr. Skip Anderson. He's the shepherd at North Dakota State University and a fellow Hampshire breeder, so we're glad to have Skip out here working our show today. He's worked now since he's judged in Massachusetts, his 20th different state, judging sheep in, as well as back at Louisville, some of the national shows there as well. So Skip's a very enthusiastic sheep breeder. He's got a collection of magazines, sheep magazines, over 3,000 copies on hand, and well versed in the history of our industry too. Just 2 weeks ago, he worked the Oregon State Fair, so he's been literally from coast to coast here. Let's give Skip a nice welcome here this morning to our sheep show here in the Mallory.
Two nice yearling bucks to get started in our Hampshire show. As we talk about the buck over here that we're going to lead off with, I just like a lot of pieces about this particular individual. He's certainly a long-fronted individual that's ties really neat from his neck into his shoulder. He's really attractive when we step back and look at him from the side here. I like him in terms of his bone work and the size of the foot that he stands on. He's really straight and true down his top and has a lot of nice pieces that can go on and make an impact within a breeding program. Buck that we've got here in second, a real youthful appearing kind of a buck. One that's really attractive through the front 1/3 of his skeleton. A ram that might give up just a notch, a length of body when we study him here from the side. I'd maybe like to see him track out a little easier when he's set into motion. Maybe like to make him a little stronger on those front pasterns, but two nice bucks to lead off our ham show. Congratulations.
First and second in that class, both to Strawberry Fields of West Greenwich, Rhode Island. We always weigh these top three animals. In this class too, we'll get weights on them and then we'll share that information with you here shortly. Exhibitors holding sheep in the center aisle, we would like you to move down, please, and we're keeping the center aisle, the main aisleway, open. Just slip your holding sheep there down around the corner, please. In our Hampshire yearling ram class we just finished, the order of placings was first and second both going to Strawberry Fields Hampshires from West Greenwich, Rhode Island. Ring number 590 was first, and he weighed 338 pounds. The runner-up buck in that class, Strawberry Fields 1532, weighed 333. Both those rams were sired by the Larson buck, Larson LNL 28.
kind of some give and take here in our fall Ram Lamb class, but I think we've got a buck that kind of puts all the pieces together. I really like the length of body and attractiveness in this ram. He's just super from the profile here when we step back and look at him. He ties neat from his neck into his shoulder, and then when you get your hands on him, he's got some natural thickness about him. He's wide throughout his hip, and then when we study him at the ground, he's got some base width about him. If I were going to change him a little bit, I'd like to maybe give him just a notch more bone as we compare him to the ram we've got here in second. But I think in terms of his breed type and balance and eye appeal, heel. I like the buck quite easy to win the class. Ram that we've got here in second, a real rugged made kind of a sheep, one that we can appreciate in terms of his bone work, a real heavy structured kind of a ram. He's wide top, he's wide hip, he's got some natural thickness and center dimension about him. I'd like to see him just balance up a little better from the profile here. He gets a little bolder through his shoulder. I'd like to see him just blend a little neater from his neck into his shoulder, but I think we can appreciate that added dimension and massiveness in this ram. Ram that we've got here in third, a more moderate frame kind of a buck, one that I think we can appreciate in terms of his depth of side and capacity. I like the bone under this ram. I like the breed type about this buck. I just need to see him longer when we dig in and handle him from that 13th rib back, but a lot of nice pieces in this particular individual. More extreme pattern buck we're going to round out the class with, a ram that's one of the longer bodied rams that we have out here, and therefore he's one of the longer handling rams we have out here. I think when it's all said and done, he'll probably be the biggest buck when it's finished in terms of future growth. But for today, he just gets too narrow down his top. He gets too narrow throughout his pin set. Maybe like to see him track just a little freer and easier off his hind too. Congratulations.
We're now going to select a senior champion ram, and those of you with the first and second place yearlings, bring them to the ring at this time, please. We are ready to select our senior champion and reserve senior champion rams, and these exhibitors are going to receive a couple of added bonus awards. Our first and second place yearling ram, both of those two are from the Strawberry Fields Farm of Rhode Island. Our senior ram lamb class winner went to Adam Heichman of Mount Jackson, Virginia, and the runner-up in that class is exhibited by Jenna Sullivan. The winner of our senior champion and reserve rams are going to receive some added awards donated by Strawberry Fields Hampshires.
Nice lineup of rams we have out here in our senior lineup in our Hampshire show. I think as we study the four individuals, we found some uniformity and consistency in these bucks. I think as we study the rams in class and get them out here as we look at them today, we're going to use our yearling buck for senior champion. We're going to come back and use the fall for reserve. Congratulations.
Our senior champion ram goes to Strawberry Fields Hampshires and Adam Heichman with the reserve senior champion ram. Our class is complete. Here's the placings on that senior Ram Lamb class. First place honors went to Adam Heisman, 3ADH Farm of Mount Jackson, Virginia. That was ring number 41 with Heisman 1553. The class winner weighed 240 pounds, and he was the son of Herrig, 922. The runner-up in that class was bred by Jenna Sullivan, Here We Go Farm of Moodus, Connecticut. Ring number 593 was Sullivan 1602. He weighed 277 pounds and was sired by Mad River 147. The third place ram in the class was exhibited and bred by Folding Hills Hampshire's Heather and Malcolm Johnson of Warnerville, New York. Ring number 594 weighed 239 pounds and was a son of Gordon Neer, 1401. And rounding out the class was a ram from Luke Benjamin of Wilmington, Illinois, with held 1743. And that was ring number 595. And if you're following in the book, it will read down 2 with a weight of 277, 3 at 239, 1 weighing 140, and 4.
Nice big buck lamb to lead off in our January class here. Love the length of body and length of spine in this particular sheep. I certainly appreciate how neat and attractive he is through his front 1/3. And then when we step back and look at him from the profile here, he just balances up really nice. I like him in terms of his breed type. I like him in terms of his bone. I'd maybe like to see him move about the ring a little freer and easier. He likes to pop that top just a little bit for me as he moves about, but I think there's a lot of good pieces in this ram, and as we forecast him forward, he's going to be a big, powerful yearling buck next year. Really attractive ram we've got here in second, a little more moderate frame kind of a sheep. One I like in terms of his breed type, I like in terms of his movement about the ring. Certainly a ram that we can appreciate how sound he is at the ground when he sets out and moves. Maybe like to see him just a little bit longer as we compare him to the buck in front of him. Congratulations.
Here's the placings on the January Ram Lamb class. First place honors went to Jenna Sullivan of Moodus, Connecticut. Ring number 597 on Rickow 6037 breakaway. And he was the son of homeboy J&E Hamps 222. The class winner weighed 218 pounds. In second place was a Ram Lamb exhibited by Luke Benjamin of Illinois. Ring number 596 with Bobendreyer 1612. And a son of Kaler 1330. He weighed 193.
Testing. Testing. Testing.
Nice lineup of rams we have out here in our February class. We've got a really neat buck to lead off with, just a long-bodied, really extended kind of a sheep. One that I really like, that elevation and extension he has through his chest floor, and then when you run your hand down his top, he's straight and level. He's level out through his hip. He's a big bone kind of a sheep, and one that is really wide-based, and we study him at the ground. I think there's a lot of future and potential in this buck as we forecast him forward into being a yearling ram. Buck that we've got here in second is really similar in type and kind to the ram we chose to start off with. Just comes at us in a little smaller package, a ram that we can appreciate the balance and the overall dimension that this guy has. A ram that's presented to us in really short fleece, so what you see is what you get in this particular sheep. A ram that I can appreciate when we study him in terms of his movement. A ram that I like in terms of his depth of side and capacity. Maybe like to stretch him out as we compare him to the buck in front of him, but I think he logically falls into second here quite nicely. A really cool ram to look at here in third, one that I appreciate in terms of his profile. I appreciate him in terms of his breed type and style and flash when we step back and look at him here. A ram that we can tell I think is real youthful in his appearance, a ram that's got some future growth left in him in terms of his growth and performance as he continues to grow and mature. I like him as we study him at the ground. He's a big boned ram and a ram that sets down nice on all four corners. Maybe today he just gives up a little bit of dimension down his top and maybe like to widen him out in his pin set. But I think in terms of eye appeal and overall length of body, I like him here. Ram that we've got here in fourth, a deep-sided, rugged kind of a buck, an easy-keeping kind of a ram once you get your hands on him. A ram that I think has an advantage in terms of depth of side and capacity as we compare him to the ram that stands directly in behind him. A sheep that I can appreciate in terms of his muscle mass and his overall dimension. He's a wide-based individual. Maybe today I think I'd like to stretch him out from front to rear, maybe clean him up through his front end just a little bit. He gets a little bolder through his shoulder and maybe have him to tie in a little neater from his neck into his shoulder. But a lot of nice pieces in that particular ram. Then we've got another real youthful appearing buck to round out our top five here. One that's super long-bodied, one that's really straight down his top line. A ram that just gives up some pounds and growth and performance to compete with the bucks in front of him. Congratulations.
At this time, Hampshire exhibitors, you may start working your March Ram Lambs over here towards the show ring entrance. We have 5 entries in our March Ram Lamb class. Here's the placings on our February Ram Lamb class. First place honors went to Strawberry Fields, Hampshires of West Greenwich, Rhode Island. Ring number 601 was Strawberry Fields 1602, and he weighed 222. Our second place Ram Lamb in class was also from Strawberry Fields. Ring number 612 was Strawberry Fields 1612, and both those rams were out of Strawberry Fields 1313. In third place was Tyler Marjak, TAM Hampshires of Federalsburg, Maryland, with ring 604 on Marjak 1619, and a son of Jadewood 1423. Our third place ram weighed 170. And in fourth place was Jenna Sullivan, Here We Go Farm of Moodus, Connecticut, with Sullivan 1614 and a daughter or a son of Strawberry Fields 1520. And that was ring 605. In fifth place, we had Double Bardee Hampshires of Navarre, Ohio. Ring number 600 was Double Bardee 1608 and sired by Blumenshine 1240. Sixth place was an entry from Jack and Sarah Jakeman of Gloversville, New York. Ring number 598 with Jakeman 1648, and he was sired by Gordon Neer 1401. Rounding out the class was Bertina Fisk with Birchwood Farm of Clayville, Rhode Island, with ring 602 on Birchwood 132. And he was the son of Birchwood 147.
Nice class of March Ram Lambs here in our Hampshire show. Buck Lamb we're going to lead off with hits me pretty hard today as he came out in the ring. I really like a lot of pieces about this particular individual. One that's just super straight down his top. He's elevated through his chest floor. He's neat and attractive through the front 1/3 of his skeleton, but then you can appreciate the bone that he stands on. He's a big-footed individual, and then as we talk about him in terms of our trio of bucks we have here on the top end, I think he's the soundest, freest, easy moving ram about that group of bucks as well. A lot of nice pieces about this ram in terms of his breed type and the way he's built. I think he'll be a cool individual to see here next year as a yearling ram. Ram that we've got here in second, a real long-bodied sheep, a ram that he too we can appreciate in terms of his breed type. I like that added length of body and length of spine in this particular individual. I think as we study him, he's got a slight advantage in terms of length of body and length of loin as we compare him to our class winner. Maybe you'd like to see him just track about the ring a little freer and easier. Maybe you'd like to see him just stand on a little more bone when we study him at the ground, but I think a buck that falls logically into our second hole. Real youthful appearing kind of a ram we've got here next. I think one that's has some natural thickness and some dimension about him, but as we study this ram in terms of his movement, we just need to make him better out when he gets about the ring. I'd maybe like to shorten him up in terms of his rear pasterns just a little bit. It certainly would propel him forward if we could correct that about him. Ram that we've got here in fourth, a deep-sided, bold-sprung kind of a ram that does have some outward turn and dimension to his center body. We just need to make this buck sounder to compete with the rams in front of him. And same holds true with the ram we're going to round out our class with, a real growthy, big outline kind of a sheep. A ram today that we just need to make better down his top line and make him wider at the ground. Congratulations.
Our next class will be the slick sheared ram lambs. We have 2 entries in this class.
Just 2 entries here in our slick short and Hampshire ram lamb class, but we're going to go ahead and use the ram that I think has the advantage of natural thickness and muscle. As we study the ram down his top, he's certainly a wider top ram that's wider throughout his hip. He's got some more depth aside. As we study him, he's dropped in deeper in his rear flank, and I think he's a ram that moves a little better about the ring. A ram that we've got here in second, a long-bodied ram, a ram that we can appreciate in terms of his length of hind saddle and length of loin. We just need to make this ram better down his top. We need to make him sounder when he gets out and moves. Congratulations.
We'll get these ram lambs weighed, and then we'll start lining up our entries here for the pair competition. And while we're lining these up, We'll give you the placings here on our March Ram Lamb class. First place honors went to Strawberry Fields of Rhode Island, with Strawberry Fields 1626. The winning lamb was ring 610 and weighed 175 pounds. Second place was exhibited by Folding Hills Hampshire's Heather and Malcolm Johnson, with Johnson's 1625 out of the Gordon Ear Buck. And he weighed that was ring 607, weighing 164. Third place was shown by Double Bardee Hampshires of Ohio, ring 608, with Double Bardee 1609 and a weight of 168. Fourth place went to Strawberry Fields, ring 611, and rounding out the class was Jack and Sarah Jakeman from New York on ring 609. With Strawberry Field 1625. And lining up the class from top down on that page, it's 2 with a weight of 164. 3 is 168, then 5, 4, and 1. And he weighed again 175. Our 2 junior Ram Lambs were both from the Zachary Lyman flock of Massachusetts. Our class winner was ring 614, and he weighed 162. The runner-up, ring 613, weighed 152. This time we're going to select a junior champion ram and reserve, and then we're going to pick our overall grand champion ram here of this show. In our pair of Ram Lamb class, first place honors went to Strawberry Fields Hampshires from West Greenwich, Rhode Island. Second place was in a pair from Jenna Sullivan, Here We Go Farm of Connecticut. In third was a pair of Ram Lambs from the Luke Benjamin flock in Illinois. And fourth place was shown by Folding Hills Hampshire's Heather and Buzz Johnson of New York. The fifth place pair of Ram Lambs were exhibited by Double Bardee Hampshires from Ohio. Sixth place to Jack and Sarah Jakeman of New York. And our final pair went to Zachary Lyman of Massachusetts.
We've got a nice lineup of rams out here in our junior champion lineup in our Hampshire show. I think as we study the bucks out here, we found some high-quality individuals. I think we've got pieces that can represent the Hampshire breed quite well. With that being said, I'll go out and select your Grand and Reserve junior champion bucks. Congratulations.
Our junior champion ram goes to Strawberry Fields, Hampshires. And the junior champion reserve honors also go to Strawberry Fields. Our contestants out here for the overall Grand Champion Ram honors, we have the senior champion, was an entry from Strawberry Fields, Hampshires, and the reserve senior champion was a fall ram lamb from Adam Heichman. And both our junior champion and reserve were entries from Strawberry Fields. Our winning Hampshire ram is also going to earn a added prize donated by Pikeside Farm. The Poitras family of Brimfield, Massachusetts are giving this donation in memory of Mr. and Mrs. Ernie Fleabot.
And then the reserve grand champion is by the Lyman family.
The reserve grand champion overall ram is receiving an additional award from the Lyman family of Massachusetts.
Let's put our hands together for our Hampshire exhibitors out here in our champion ram lineup. I think we've got 4 high-quality individual bucks out here. I think as we study these guys, we found rams that were sound first and rams that have some added length of body and dimension about them. And then as we put those pieces together, we found rams with some style and balance and eye appeal. I think as we sort through these rams, the ram that kind of hits me the hardest out here today is going to be our junior champion buck. I like a lot of pieces about this sheep. I think he's got a bright future in front of him. We'll come back and use the yearling ram for reserve. Congratulations.
Strawberry Fields with both the Grand and Reserve Grand Champion Ram honors here in this show. And now we need the Ram Lambs that are going to be from the junior show classes. We'll bring you in and we're going to pick your Grand and Reserve Champion Rams. Here in our junior show Ram Lamb competition, we have the first place Ram Lamb in both our classes here. The fitted classes are from Jenna Sullivan. And our slick sheared Ram Lamb, class winner and runner-up, went to Zachary Lyman from Massachusetts. Recognizing these Ram Lambs again, we have the first place Fall Ram was from Jenna Sullivan. The class winning January Ram Lamb also from Jenna, as well as our February Ram Lamb here.
Let me get this headed ram.
And the two slick sheared Ram Lambs are from the Zachary Lyman flock.
Here in our junior show in our Hampshire lineup, we've got some high-quality individuals out here, and I think the young Hampshire breeders of the area should be proud with the quality they brought out in our junior show today. We're going to go ahead and use our January Ram for champion today. We're going to come back and use our fall buck for reserve. Congratulations.
Champion and reserve both to Jenna Sullivan. At this time, Hampshire breeders, you're each allowed to bring one ram up to the ring, and we're going to pick a best-headed Hampshire ram. And the New England Hampshire Association offers an award, an added award for this honor. Tyler Marjak of Maryland with the best-headed ram, Tyler Marjak.
got a really nice yearling ewe to lead off with in our female show here, one that we can tie to today. I think I really like the length of body in this ewe. I like her elevation she has through her chest floor, but then when we study her in terms of her design, I like how wide she is down her top. She's pulled apart through the center portion of her skeleton, and she's got some width and thickness throughout her hip. She's a wide pinned ewe, and a ewe that when we study her in terms of her muscle shape, we can appreciate that added dimension she has. I like her when we set the sheep into motion. She moves about the ring on a long, free, nice, easy stride, and then when we look at her from a balance standpoint, she's really stylish in the way she looks from a profile. She's also got some depth and capacity about her. A lot of nice pieces in this particular female. Ewe that we have here in second and third, as we talk about these two, kind of a close placing with some give and take as we study the two individuals. I'm going to go ahead and use the ewe that has an advantage in terms of her bone. I like the size of the foot and the bone that this ewe stands on. I like the length of body that she has when we look at her from the side here. She might be a little neater and more attractive through the front one-third of her skeleton as we compare her to the ewe in second. Certainly a lot of nice pieces in terms of her breed type. I like her in terms of her hip structure. Maybe like to see her just a little wider in her hocks when we move her about the ring, but I think there's some nice pieces in this particular female. A ewe that we've got here in third has the advantage of depth of side and capacity and outward turn to her rib cage as we compare her to the ewe in second. A lot of nice pieces in terms of her build, especially through the center of her body and especially throughout her hip and her pin set. Where I'd like to change her today is when we study her at the ground, I'd like to give her some more bone, make her a little stronger on those rear pasterns when she moves about the ring, but I think we can appreciate her with that beautiful head that she's got in terms of her breed type. A big rugged ewe we've got here in fifth, one that's the deep-sided, boldest sprung ewe that we've got out here, probably a ewe that's carrying the most condition of any that we have out here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. I like the natural thickness that she's got through the center portion of her body and the width she's got through her hip. Maybe like to make her just a little sounder as we study her in terms of her bone work, in terms of her structure. And then we've got a really attractive, very balanced kind of a ewe to round out our top five with. A ewe that I really appreciate in terms of her extension she has through her front. She ties in really neat from her neck into her shoulder. Maybe just like to mass her up and power her up a little bit as we compare her to the ewes in front of her. Congratulations.
Okay, we'll weigh these first three yearling ewes, and then we're going to share that information with you here in just a moment. That was our Group 1 Hampshire Yearling ewe class. Our next one will have 9 entries in it. Here's the placings in the Group 1 Yearling U class. First place honors went to Jenna Sullivan. Here We Go Farm from Moodus, Connecticut on ring 628. The Yearling U was Sullivan 1508, and her name is Pigpen. Sired by Strawberry Fields 1313. She weighed 290 pounds. She is also first place in the junior show. Our second place Yearling U was an entry from Strawberry Fields of West Greenwich, Rhode Island. Ring number 627 on Strawberry Fields 1511. She weighed 250. In third was a Yearling U bred by Double Bardee Hampshires of Ohio on ring 626 with Double Bardee 1510, and she was a daughter of Blumenshine 1240. In the third place U weighed 260. Our fourth place honors were won by Folding Hills Hampshires, Heather and Buzz Johnson, with ring 623. And fifth was also the same breeder, ring 622. The sixth place Yearling U in the class was bred by Bertina Fisk of Clayville, Rhode Island, ring 625 with Birchwood 148. And in seventh and eighth place was Zachary Lyman of Massachusetts with ring 629 in seventh and 630 in eighth. And Zachary's U's were second and third in the junior show. And following down in the book, it is 5, 4, 6, 3 with a weight of 260, 2 with a weight of 250, 1 weighing 290, and 7. And on the next page was 8.
Really nice class of yearling ewes in our second lineup we've got out here. I think we've got two powerful ewes on the top end here, and I think as we study the two individuals, as we step back and look at them, there's some differences between them, but there's a lot of quality in both of these individuals. I think as we study the sheep that we lead off with, I like that added length of body she's got. She's a real long, clean-fronted, extended kind of individual that really ties neat from her neck into her shoulder, and then as we study her and we get our hands on her, she's got some natural thickness down her top, and she carries that width and thickness into a big, wide, square hip. She's got an advantage in terms of her breed type. She's woolly-headed and woolly-legged, and I like that about her. And then when we set these two ewes in motion, I think she just gets about the ring on a little sounder, freer moving stride, especially off her hind two. A lot of nice things about this particular individual and this female. I think she looks pretty neat from the side here with a lot of style and eye appeal. A deep-sided, powerful ewe we've got here in second, and I really like that about that ewe. She's really a powerfully made kind of a sheep that's wide down her top. She's wide through her hip. She's got an added shot of muscle about her when we step back and look at her from behind. She's a big-boned individual when we study her at the ground. Maybe I think where I'd like to change her is just give her a notch more length of body as we compare her to our class winner. Maybe like to see her just wider at her hocks when she's set into motion. She just hocks in just a notch too much for me today, especially when she moves about the ring. But there's a lot of good things in that ewe here in second. Ewe that we've got here in third is similar in type and kind to the ewe that we chose to start the class with. A real long-bodied, up-fronted kind of an individual, one that's really elevated through her chest floor. She's really neat and attractive in the way she's put together. Maybe like to see her with a notch more dimension as we compare her to our top two. Maybe like to see her with a little more bone at the ground, but a really nice ewe here in third. Ewe that we've got here in fourth, a real youthful appearing kind of a sheep, and I think a sheep that we can appreciate for her size and scale. She's a large frame, tall ewe. She's really neat and feminine through her front. A ewe today that I think just gives up some mass and some depth. I'd like to see her dropped in deeper in her rear flank, but there's a lot of nice things about this one when we step back and look at her from a style and balance standpoint. Same holds true with the ewe we've got here in fifth. A real straight-made kind of a sheep, one that's really level in her design. You like that added outward turn to her rib cage. You like that center body that she's got. We just need to give her some more bone and give her a bigger foot as we study her at the ground. But a deep class of yearling ewes again. Congratulations.
Our Group 2 class of yearling ewes was won by Jenna Sullivan from Connecticut with Quam 235. The winning ewe weighed 271, and that was ring 636. And she was a daughter of Homeboy. Our second place yearling ewe in class was bred by Luke Benjamin from Illinois, ring number 632. On Benjamin 1543, she weighed 280 pounds. And in third place was an entry from Luke Benjamin from Illinois, ring number 638 on a Benjamin 1550, and she weighed 260. The fourth place yearling ewe was shown by Strawberry Fields of West Greenwich, Rhode Island, ring 635. Fifth place honors were won by Double Bar D, Hampshires from Ohio, with Double Bar D 1522, and that was ring 639. In sixth place was Tyler Marjak from Maryland, ring 634, and seventh place also to Tyler Marjak, ring 633. Our eighth place yearling ewe was exhibited by Bertina Fisk from Rhode Island, ring 637, and our final entry was exhibited by Brianna Taylor, Half Pint Farm from Shirley, Massachusetts, with Johnson's 1512.
Nice class of slick shorn ewes in our female lineup here in our Hampshire show. Really nice ewe, really complete ewe to lead off with. I think a ewe that has the advantage in terms of muscle shape and dimension. I like the depth of side and the capacity in this female, and I think where her big advantage comes when we study her from the rear. She's got a notch more muscle as we step back and look at her from behind. Ewe that we've got here in second, a big frame, long-bodied kind of a sheep, one that we can appreciate that length of spine and elevation she has through her chest floor. She's a big boned ewe. I like her in terms of her breed type. Maybe like to just power up in terms of some dimension and mass as we compare her to our class winner. Really straight, very complete ewe that we've got here in third, one that's the most level out through her top and out through her hip. She's a sheep today that I think we just need to change her in terms of her bone work. I'd like to see some bigger foot and some more circumference of bone as we study her at the ground in terms of her skeletal design. And then we've got a long-bodied, real elevated ewe here in fourth, the largest framed ewe that we have out here. We just need to make her wider down her top and give her some more base width at the ground. Congratulations.
In our slick-sheared yearling ewe class, Zachary Lyman of Massachusetts placed first with ring 644. She weighed 226 pounds and was a daughter of Strawberry Fields, 1318. She was also first place in the junior class. Second place went to Strawberry Fields, ring 624. Was Strawberry Fields 1509. The runner-up weighed 254. Our third place yearling ewe was exhibited by Bertina Fisk from Rhode Island, ring 643 with Jakeman 1506. The third place ewe weighed 197. And in fourth place was Jenna Sullivan, Here We Go Farm of Moodus, Connecticut, ring 641 with Sullivan 1506. Our pair of yearling ewe class was won by Jenna Sullivan from Connecticut. And in second place was a pair of yearling ewes from Luke Benjamin from Illinois. Third place honors were won by Strawberry Fields Hampshires from Rhode Island. And in fourth place was Double Bar D with a pair from Ohio. Folding Hills Hampshires of New York was fifth. And in sixth place, Tyler Marjak from Maryland. Seventh place was shown by Bertina Fisk of Rhode Island. And our eighth place honors went to Zachary Lyman from Massachusetts.
Here in our fall ewe lamb class, we've got some differences in type and kind that we've got out here, and I think the ewe that we're going to start off with is one that she's an outlier. Let's just put it that way. She's a little bit different than the rest of the group, but I think there's a lot of nice pieces about this individual. I think we can appreciate the size and scale that she has, the growth and performance that she has. I'll be the first to admit I maybe like to change her a little bit in terms of her color and some pigment, but I think once you do get your hands on this sheep, she does have some natural thickness down her top. She's got some width and thickness out through her hip. We'd maybe like to see her with just a notch more bone when we study her at the ground, but I really like that length of body and elevation that she's got. Ewe that we've got here in second, a really complete, very balanced kind of a ewe that I love in terms of her Hampshire breed type, almost ideal as we step back and look at her. I love the bone and the size of the foot that she stands on. She's super sound at the ground. She's straight down her top and really level and complete. She might give up just some length of body as we compare her to the ewe that wins the class, but I think there's a lot of nice pieces in this particular female. The ewe that we've got here in third closely resembles the ewe that we've got here in second in the way she's built. A ewe that's got some outward turn to her rib cage. She's got some depth aside and some capacity about her. Maybe like to give her just a notch more bone when we study her at the ground. Give her a bigger foot and maybe have her track out the ring just a little bit wider when we watch her move from behind. The ewe that we've got here in fourth, a short fleeced kind of individual, one that's super straight down her top. She's really level when we step back and look at her from the side here, from front to rear. We'd maybe like to give her just a notch more muscle as we analyze the ewe, especially down her top and through the lower portion of her leg. Maybe give her just a notch more bone as well when we study her at the ground. Big outlined ewe we've got here in fifth, one that we can appreciate that added growth and performance that she's got. She's certainly a round rib kind of individual that's pulled apart through the center portion of her skeleton. We just need to make her better in terms of her structure and movement. Congratulations.
Here is the placings on the fall ewe lamb class. First place went to Jenna Sullivan from Connecticut on ring 656 with Rickow 5086, a daughter of Homeboy. She weighed 222 pounds. The second place ewe lamb was exhibited by Strawberry Fields, ring 658, with Held Hampshire's 1734. And that ewe lamb weighed 181. In third place was Folding Hills Hampshires, the Johnson family, ring 657, with the ewe lamb that weighed 183. And in fourth place and fifth place were entries from Jack and Sarah Jakeman of Gloversville, New York. Ring 655 was fourth and 660 was fifth. And each of those were out of a Gordon ear ram. And that class will read down 4-1 with the weight of 222, 5-3 weighing 183, and 2 weighing 181. And our first place open ewe lamb was also the first place in the junior class. So we'll be back later on when we pick our overall grand champion junior show ewe. Recognizing our animals out here in the ring, the first place Group 1 yearling ewe was bred by Jenna Sullivan, Strawberry Fields Hampshires, with the runner-up in that class. Our Group 2 class winner was from Sullivan, and the runner-up from Luke Benjamin of Illinois. And our two slick sheared yearling ewes were, first was from Zach Lyman and the runner-up from Strawberry Fields, and Sullivan and Strawberry Fields with the 2 Fall ewe lambs.
Let's put our hands together for our Hampshire exhibitors that brought us just a tremendous set of females out here in our senior champion lineup. We talked all these individuals in class and all their qualities, but I think as we look at the individuals we've got out here, we found a consistent uniform set of females. I'm really happy with the lineup that we have out here in the senior champion lineup. I think as we go through and sort through these sheep, we found a lot of high quality pieces, and as we analyze the classes, I think the deepest class we saw today was the second yearling ewe class. She's going to be our senior champion. We're going to go back and use the second place ewe out of that for reserve. Congratulations.
Our senior champion ewe went to Jenna Sullivan and the Benjamin family from Illinois with reserve. And each of those were awarded additional prizes from Strawberry Fields, Hampshires of Massachusetts.
Nice class of ewe lambs to get started in our young female show. We've got two nice ewes here on the top. I think there's some give and take in these two individuals as we compare the two sheep together. I'm going to go ahead and use the ewe that just has a slight advantage of depth of side and capacity when we look at her here. I like that outward turn to her rib cage. I like the width she has through her loin, and then she carries that width into a big wide square hip. I like the bone that she stands on. I like her in terms of her balance and eye appeal, especially as we look at her here from a femininity standpoint. She's just super smooth and super correct when we look at her from that regard. You that we've got here in second, love a lot of pieces about this individual. She's long bodied, she's feminine, she's long neck. She ties really neat from her neck into her shoulder. Gives up a little bit of dimension and capacity as we compare her to the ewe in front of her. Like to widen her out in her hip structure just a little bit, pull her apart at her pins, maybe give her a notch more bone at the ground, but I think as we forecast her forward, she's going to be an exciting yearling ewe next year. You that we've got here in third, a really complete balance kind of a sheep, one that gets deep-sided when we look at her here. She's dropped in deep in her rear flank. She's got some width when we study her from behind. Maybe today I'd like to see her just longer from front to rear as we compare her to the two sheep in front of her. She gets a little shorter from flank to flank for me, and that's why she's going to be third. Same holds true with the ewe we've got here in fourth, another powerfully made kind of a ewe that when you study this one from any angle, she's got some base width at the ground. She's got some natural thickness down her top. Maybe like to make her a little better in her hip structure. Like to see her just a little longer from front to rear as we compare her in our lineup. And then the ewe we're going to round out our class with a real youthful appearing kind of a sheep, one that's got some skeletal extension about her. We just need to make the sheep better down her top line before we can run her any higher today. Congratulations.
All right, our class is complete. This is our February class of Hampshire ewe lambs. We have 2 more classes after this. We have one for Marches, and then we'll have a slick sheared ewe lamb class here in just a few moments. The placings on our January ewe lamb class, the first place honors went to Jenna Sullivan from Connecticut with Qualm 362, and she was sired by J&E Hamp's homeboy, and the class winner weighed 218. Our second place ewe lamb was bred by Luke Benjamin from Illinois, ring number 664 with Benjamin 1603, and she's a daughter of Hickman 1094. That ewe lamb weighed 177. Our third place ewe lamb was exhibited by Strawberry Fields Hampshires of Rhode Island, ring number 666, and that lamb was Scheller 264 out of held 1547, and she weighed 182 pounds. Our fourth place ewe lamb was an entry from Grant Sullivan of Shear We Go Farm, ring number 667 with Larson's 604, and she was out of Larson's 518. And rounding out the class was Zachary Lyman of Massachusetts, ring 661 with Herrig 1086, and that ewe lamb was a daughter of Herrig 992. And in the page it will read down 5-1 with the weight of 218, 2 at 177, 3 weighing 182, and 4. And again, in our junior classes, lambs that were in that class, our first place was the class winner itself from Jenna Sullivan, Grant Sullivan second, and Zach Lyman rounded out the class. For those of you that are watching our show here this morning that are casually interested in our sheep show, we welcome you here to the Eastern States Exposition. This is one of many breeds of sheep that we're going to be judging here both this week and next week as well. This is our National Eastern Regional Marcus Thompson Jr. Hampshire show. And as we mentioned earlier, we have a fellow Hampshire breeder in Skip Anderson. The shepherd at North Dakota State is judging our classes here today. As you watch the animals walk around the ring, he's using this to help him evaluate the animals that he's looking at here in the class. Earlier you saw him go down and handle the tops of the animals and the rumps of the animals, and what he's feeling for is the amount of meat and muscling that's under that coat of wool. So the muscling is an indicator that these animals themselves are heavily muscled, and they're not going to be taken or sent away to slaughter, but the offspring of these animals is what we're looking for or projecting to see how well they're going to transmit that meat and muscling that's going to end up as lamb chops and leg of lambs that are going to be on your plate. So we have a beautiful class. This is Hampshire ewe lambs. These are born in February. Some of the things he's looking for besides handling the animals and feeling how much meat and muscle is under that coat of wool. He likes a body that's a nice long top. He likes a lengthy animal. Each of these animals, you'll notice in the face, looks very, very similar. That's what we refer to as the breed character about the sheep. And if you look up here behind the announcer's area, you'll see on the wall several flags, and that represents many of the different breeds of sheep that are shown here, and you'll notice they all have their own particular identities. And so they do have, each of the breeds have a scorecard, and they rate the breed character, and that's one of the things he's considering as he's evaluating these animals. It's not the biggest one, it's not the most muscular or maybe the longest. It's a combination of factors in his mind that he's looking here as he's judging his animals. So when he finally makes his selections, he'll put his least favorite animals, he'll pull them out of the lineup first and then work a little longer with his favorite animals. Getting his top one will be the last one that he will select. So you can sit back and watch here. If you like to follow the show or buy some sheep or learn more about them, we have programs over here on the bleachers. They're free of charge. They have a yellow cover. You can come over and pick one up and follow along. The pedigrees of these animals are in the book. Also, the exhibitors' names and addresses. So talk to them if you're looking for a good stud buck or if you want to buy some ewes and start raising your own Hampshires.
Nice class of February ewe lambs out here. Big, deep class. Lots of quality that ran incredibly deep all the way through. We got a really complete ewe to lead off with. I think the ewe that we can really appreciate that length of body and length of spine in this female. Long neck, long fronted kind of a female that ties in really neat from her neck into her shoulder. And then as she hooks in from her shoulder into her forerib, and then the further back into her skeleton we go, she gets progressively deeper. She's dropped in deep in her rear flank, and we've got some bone underneath this female as well. Like a lot of pieces about her, I think, as we forecast her forward, she's going to be a nice big yearling ewe next year. Big rugged ewe we've got here in second. I think there's a lot of nice things in this particular sheep. One that's really wide down her top. She's pulled apart through the center portion of her body. She's wide and square throughout her hip, and she's a heavy structured ewe when we study her in terms of her makeup. I think where I falter today is when we start studying her at the ground. She's getting pretty soft on that one right rear pastern here, and I think as that progressively goes along here, it gets progressively worse, and I'd like to certainly change that about her to push the ewe in front of her just a little bit harder. Really complete balanced ewe we've got here in third. Not the tallest or the longest ewe by any means, but one that's just built right. When we study her at the ground, she's a wide-based individual. She's correct when we study her in terms of her feet and legs. She sets down nice on all four corners. When you run your hand down her top, she's super straight. She's level and square throughout her hip. I like her Hampshire breed type about her, and I think as we analyze her in terms of the way she's built, she logically falls into our top three lineup. Big outlined ewe we've got here in fourth. Long-bodied kind of a sheep, one with lots of skeletal extension. When we study her, she's long from flank to flank. One that is straight and level down her top. She does have some capacity about her. Need to change her in terms of her structure. We need to see some more bone. We need to make her move about the ring freer and easier. And then the ewe we're going to round out our class with is really similar in type and kind to the sheep that stands in third. One that's super complete, one that's super correct in the way she's built. May give up a little bit of size and scale and performance in comparison to the sheep in front of her, but when we study her in terms of length of body and skeletal design, I really like her here in the fifth spot. Really deep class of ewe lambs from top to bottom. Congratulations. Nice class of March ewe lambs here in our Hampshire show. Really complete, big frame kind of a sheep to lead off with, but I think she's the sheep that puts all those pieces together in terms of rib shape and capacity, but yet staying youthful in her appearance and feminine in the way she's built. She's really sound. We set her into motion. She's a wide-based, big-footed individual that I like her in terms of her breed type. A lot of nice pieces in this female. Bigger frame, long-bodied ewe we've got here in second as well. One that, as we look at her and study her, she's got some evidence that there's some future growth in this female. One that when you get your hands on her, she's presented to us in short fleece. She's really straight down her top. She's got a slight advantage in terms of her hip structure as we compare over the ewe in third. She's wider at her pin. She's wider at the base and stands on a notch more bone as we compare those two ewe lambs in 2 and 3. A lot of nice pieces in this one as well. Ewe lamb that we've got here in third, a real youthful appearing kind of a ewe. I think a ewe that's got a bright future in front of her in terms of growth in the future. One that we can appreciate that length of body and length of spine that she has. Would like to make her move about the ring just a little freer and easier when she's set into motion. She gets a little narrow tracking for me at the ground. I'd like to maybe change her off her hind two when she's set into motion, but I think as we study her in terms of her balance and eye appeal, she's one of those ewe lambs that we can appreciate. Same holds true with the ewe we've got here in fourth, one that's super straight down her top, one of the most level females we got out here when we run our hand down her top line. She's wide throughout her hips. She's level at her dock. She's pulled apart in her pin set. I'd just like to see her wider at the ground. I'd like to see her stand on some more circumference of bone as we study the sheep that stand in front of her, but certainly she's the kind of one that we can appreciate a lot of nice pieces about her. Then we've got a deep-sided, bold-sprung ewe lamb here in fifth, one that we can appreciate that growth and performance and weight per day of age. She's certainly the easy-keeping kind, the way she's built. She's wide top. She's wide through the center portion of her body. She's got some outward turn and curvature to her rib, but she just doesn't balance up well enough for me today. I'd like to see her just neater and more attractive through her front end. I'd like to see her tie neater and more feminine through the front 1/3 of her skeleton. She gets a little more bold in her shoulder for me today as we analyze her from a profiling standpoint. Like the breed type on that sheep, just need to change her in terms of balance. Congratulations.
Congratulations, exhibitors, on that nice class of lambs. Our final class here will be the slick sheared ewe lambs in the individual judging. We're going to catch you up to date here on the placings of the February ewe lamb class. First in the previous class, first went to Luke Benjamin from Wilmington, Illinois, with ring 675 on Benjamin, 1613. That lamb weighed 177 pounds. And in second place was Jenna Sullivan with ring 679. With Sullivan 1615, and she weighed 184. The third place ewe lamb in the class was exhibited by Double Bardee, ring 668 with Double Bardee 1610, and a daughter of the Blumenschein ram. And that lamb weighed 151. The fourth place ewe lamb in our February class was shown by Luke Benjamin. Fifth place honors went to the Adam Heichman flock. Sixth place to Jenna Sullivan, and in seventh was a ewe lamb from Double Bardee. Our eighth place February lamb was shown by Grant Sullivan. And in ninth place we had Tyler Marjak of Maryland. Tyler also placed 10th. And in 11th place was Sarah and Jack Jakeman. 12th place honors went to Bertina Fisk. And rounding out the class was also a lamb from Bertina Fisk. And in the book it will read on the first page, 3 with a weight of 151, 5, 6, 7, 11, 13, and 8. And on our next page it is 1 with the weight of 177, 9, 10, 2 with the weight of 184, 4, and 12. And Jenna's lamb also, the second place open, was First Junior. In our March class, the first place award went to Jenna Sullivan with a lamb that weighed 157. That was ring 685. In second was Strawberry Fields, ring number 688, with Strawberry Fields 1633, and she weighed 142. Our third place honors went to Strawberry Fields, ring 690 with a lamb that weighed 146. In fourth was Folding Hills Hampshires, Heather and Buzz Johnson, ring 682. With Johnson 1624, Miranda Hunter of Newark, Delaware, ring 683, placed fifth with Cars 1616. And in sixth place was Bertina Fist, ring 687 on Patty 1603. The seventh place March ewe lamb and eighth place honors both went to Bertina Fisk. And rounding out the class was a lamb from Brianna Taylor, Half Pint Farm in Shirley, Massachusetts. And reading these from top down, it will go 4, 5, 9, and 1 with the weight of 151. 6, 2 with a weight of 142. 3 weighing 146. And on our next page was 8 and 7.
Here in our slick sheared ewe lamb class, we've got some differences in type and kind, but the ewe lamb we're going to start off with is the most expressively muscled ewe lamb that we've got out here. I really like the power she's got down her top. She's wide throughout her hip. She's wide when we step back and look at her from behind. I like her in terms of her base width, but yet she's also balanced when we look at her from a profiling standpoint here. Big frame, big outline, kind of a sheep here in second, one that we can appreciate how straight and level she is down her top. I think as we analyze the sheep, she's got some depth aside. She's dropped in deep in her rear flank. Certainly, we'd like to maybe just give her a notch more expression of muscle through the lower portion of her leg when we step back and look at her from behind in comparison to her frame size. But I think as we analyze her from a balance standpoint, we can appreciate how neat and feminine she is through the front 1/3 of her skeleton. Then the ewe lamb, we're going to round out our class with a more youthful appearing kind of a sheep that just gives up some age and maturity at this stage of the game, but a sheep that I'd like to make a little straighter and truer down her top. Would like to level her out through her dock. Congratulations.
In our slick sheared ewe lamb class, Miranda Hunter from Hunter's Hamps in Newark, Delaware, placed first on ring 693 with Poe 6342, and the class winner weighed 154. Our second place ewe lamb was exhibited by Jenna Sullivan with Kasky 6423. That lamb, the class winner, the runner-up, weighed 205. And in third place, we had Folding Hills Hampshires, Heather and Malcolm Johnson, ring 676, and their lamb weighed 126. We're going to see if you Hampshire breeders can remember in 2006 who had the champion ram, who had the champion ewe, and who might have won the Premier Exhibitor and Breeder Awards that year. champion ram Jeremy Etzler from Ohio was the judge. Yes, Kuykendall's Hampshires. Get this, and they got the first one. They rang the bell. Had champion you, Kuykendall's Hampshires. And you had one more award. Exhibitor, premier exhibitor. And the ram winner is out here in the ring as well. Oh man, somebody's thinking, golly. Who was that 10 years ago? 2006. That's right, Folding Hills, Hampshires. Heather and Malcolm Johnson, who are still showing here. And there's one more thing about that ram. He went on and was Supreme Champion Ram of the Big E at Hamp Buck. And they were also the premier breeders that year. We got to update that. Susan Donatelli was the premier breeder that year. Hold your placings till we get everybody recorded here. But our class winner here was a pair of ewe lambs from Luke Benjamin from Illinois. The runner-up pair was from Jenna Sullivan. Third place honors were won by Strawberry Fields. And in fourth place was Double Dark Bardee of Ohio. And fifth place, Grant Sullivan. Our sixth place pair of ewe lambs were shown by Tyler Marjak. And seventh place honors went to Miranda Hunter. Eighth place was Folding Hills Farm. And ninth place honors went to Jack and Sarah Jakeman. And 10th place was a pair from Bertina Fisk. And reading those from top down on that page was 1, 4, 10, 7, 9, 8, 6, and on the next page 3, 5, and 2.
a nice lineup of ewe lambs out here in our junior champion drive. I think as we put all the females together, we found a uniform set, and I'm pretty happy with the quality that we found. The Hampshire show has been incredibly deep today with lots of high-quality individuals that are out here in the ring, and I think as we study the sheep, we found sheep that certainly fit the bill when it comes to what we're looking for in Hampshires. We're looking for Hampshires to have some depth of body and some capacity, but yet making them sound and look like Hampshires. So with that being said, let's put our hands together for these Hampshire exhibitors, and I'll go select your Grand and Reserve Junior Champion ewes.
Luke Benjamin from Illinois with our junior champion ewe, and Jenna Sullivan from Connecticut with our reserve junior champion. Right after we pick our grand champion ewe, we're going to do our junior show grand and reserve grand champion ewe selections. Now, the winners of the junior champion and reserve, they also received added awards, and that was furnished and donated by the Sullivan family. We also want to recognize our grand champion ewe, and she is selected. Seldom Seen Farm, the Thompson family of Chepachet, Rhode Island, gives an added award. And then that ewe is going to come back and compete against the grand champion Hampshire ram for the Supreme Champion Hampshire. And that honor is awarded by Birch Hill Farm, Mike Andrew of Gorham, Maine.
That'll be at the end of the show. I said that would be at the end of the show.
Our reserve grand champion Hamp ewe is going to receive an added award as well from the Lyman family. From Dracut, Massachusetts. They are generous and are donating one here for the reserve. Not only you, but they did so on the ram too. And we'll be soon picking a best-headed Hampshire ewe, so exhibitors be thinking about who you'd like to bring back for that. And that award sponsored by the New England Hampshire Sheep Association. Our senior champion ewe is from the Jenna Sullivan flock, and Todd Benjamin from Illinois was runner-up in that class, or Luke, and in our bros, like yesterday. And our junior champion ewe, Todd's dad, yeah. Hope they're not watching. Our junior champion ewe is the Benjamin family, and Jenna Sullivan the runner-up.
Real good set of Hampshire ewes we had today, and when we bring our senior champions and our junior champions back together, we've got 4 powerful individuals out here in our champion lineup. I think the decision gets pretty easy for me today. We're going to use our 2 yearling ewes for Grand and Reserve. There's just a lot of power in those individuals. Certainly will do the breed well. Congratulations.
The exhibitors that have sheep out here will include the first place Group 1 yearling ewe was from Jenna Sullivan. Second in that class was exhibited by Zachary Lyman. The first place Group 2 yearling ewe was shown by Jenna Sullivan, and Brianna Taylor had the second place ewe. Our slick sheared class winner was shown by Zachary Lyman and Jenna Sullivan in second. The senior ewe lamb class winner was Jenna Sullivan. Our January ewe lamb class winner went to Jenna Sullivan, and Grant Sullivan placed second. Our February ewe lamb class winner first was shown by Jenna Sullivan, and second also from Jenna. And our March ewe lamb class, first was Jennifer Sullivan, and second was Miranda Hunter from Delaware. And in our slick shear division, first went to Miranda Hunter, and a runner-up, Jenna Sullivan.
We've got a nice lineup of ewes out here in our junior show of our Hampshire class today. I think we found a lot of high-quality individuals. I think we've seen a lot of these ewes in the other part of the show today, so we're not going to talk about individual pieces about them. But I think the Hampshire breeders of the youth of this area should be pretty proud of the quality that we've got out here. I think the Hampshire breed is held in some great hands with all the quality that we've got out here in terms of their breeding programs. So I'll go out and select your Grand and Reserve champion Hampshire ewes. Congratulations.
Our champion Hampshire ewe in the junior show goes to Jenna Sullivan. And her March ewe lamb is the reserve champion. Thank you, juniors, and congratulations on a wonderful set of ewes. Double Dark Bardee Hampshires from Ohio with the best-headed Hampshire ewe here at the Big E. Double Bardee, the Deal sisters. And the New England Hampshire Sheep Association is the presenter of that award. Our next competition is going to be the breeder's flock, and if you have any changes, please do so at this time.
Jenna has to bring in.
We will have some changes here in our breeders group. Our first place flock in the exhibitors competition went to Jenna Sullivan. Second place was won by Luke Benjamin. And in third place was our flock from Strawberry Fields. Fourth place honors went to Double Bar D, and in fifth place, Folding Hills Hampshires. Sixth place honors were won by Tyler Marjak, and in seventh was a group from Bertina Fisk. In our breeders' flock competition, all 5 animals must be bred and owned by the same exhibitor. So that's why we've had some changes here. Some of these flocks had sheep that they'd purchased from other exhibitors. And so that's why we call it an exhibitor's flock. These groups of 5 were all bred and shown by the exhibitor. So now our judge is going back to work. In this class, Strawberry Fields is going to be taking home the top honors. Strawberry Fields with first place. Second place is Jenna Sullivan. In third place will be Double Bar D. Fourth place to Folding Hills, and Marjak's in fifth. The Breeders' Flock Award is presented by Birchwood Farm. Chris and Tina Fisk Colt from Clayville, Rhode Island. They give the trophy for the winning Breeders' Flock in memory of Dot and Paul Hobbs. Here's the placings in our Get of Sire. First place honors went to Jenna Sullivan from Connecticut. Our second place was from Strawberry Fields. Third place honors were won by Double Bar D. And in fourth place was Folding Hills, Hampshire's Buzz and Heather Johnson. And fifth place went to Tyler Marjak, and Jack and Sarah Jakeman rounded out the class in sixth. At this time, we're going to pick our Supreme Champion, Hampshire, and that's a competition between the Ram and the Ewe, the Grand Ram and the Grand Ewe. And then we'll have a few moments. We would like to get the pictures of those champions, so the Big E will have them here quickly as well. So those of you that had a champion to reserve, we do have a window of time here right after we have completed our Supreme Champion judging. Birch Hill Farm, many of you will remember Mike Andrew from Gorham, Maine. His family is still active in Hamps, and they offer a special prize for the Supreme Champion Hampshire overall. And it today will either be the Strawberry Fields Farm with the champion Hampshire Ram, or Jenna Sullivan with the champion Hampshire Ewe. And Birch Hills, he was a exhibitor here for many, many years, and 20 years ago he won the Premier Exhibitor Award here. Very active, won a number of championships, not only here but back at the North American and the National Show as well.
We had a really good Hampshire show today. The quality ran incredibly deep, and I certainly appreciate all the exhibitors bringing their sheep out here. And I think as we talk about the two individuals, our champion Ram and our champion Ewe, to select our Supreme Champion Hampshire, we're going to go ahead and use the champion Ewe today for our Supreme Champion Hampshire. That's a high-quality female right there. Congratulations.
Kyle, keep that Ewe there, or Ram there, and we'll get a picture of him right quick. We need a representative of Strawberry Fields to the announcer's table, please. Cara Searle there. On behalf of the Eastern States Exposition, we're proud to present both the Premier Breeder and Premier Exhibitor Awards. Let's give them a nice round of applause for that beautiful set of Hamps they showed out here all morning.